All right, let's get right to it. Wednesday, February 14th. Thanks for joining me. All right, we do have a snow system here that's moving in. Actually, going to start off as rain. All right, so the first half of the evening, basically, probably from 6 to about 8 or 9 p.m., will likely be rain or a mixture of rain and snow, and then we'll transition over to a wet, sloppy snow from about 9 or 10 p.m. till about 3 a.m. All right, let's get right to it. This is your infrared satellite loop from outer space, and you can clearly see we got some cloud tops that are cooling now over eastern South Dakota. That's a signature that this storm system is starting to tap even a little bit more moisture, and the snow band, which you'll see here in just a little bit, is beginning to intensify over eastern South Dakota. The moisture channel loop water vapor imagery from outer space also shows that there is some moisture for the storm to work with. Not a real deep fetch of Gulf moisture. In fact, it's pretty dry south of us, hence the reason why Iowa, at least a good chunk of Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, are going to be dry down here for the most part with this storm system. But we've got a frontal system right about here in southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin, and that frontal system is acting like a magnet for moisture to pool along the frontal band. It's basically a warm front that is producing precipitation. This is the radar now out of Aberdeen and eastern South Dakota, and you can clearly see a pretty heavy band of snow. This is snow at about a half inch to an inch per hour now that has developed over eastern South Dakota, and the trajectory takes it east and just a little bit northeast. So in general, and of course you know this when you're looking at the snow guidance that I sent out, this area here is about the most likely area to receive significant snow, I think, out of this system, at least where you start looking at the 3 to 4 inch plus type snows. When we look over at the Twin Cities radar, we're starting to fill in a little bit here. Most of this in western Minnesota yet, in southwestern Minnesota, is virga. That's precipitation not hitting the ground. But once you get out here into eastern South Dakota and now approaching western Minnesota, that snow and rain is hitting the ground. And as our temperatures cool overnight tonight and this evening, that's when, of course, the rain will change over to snow, and it's going to start to stick. But at first, this precipitation is not going to stick, or at least the snow won't stick because of the warm ground. You guys are all used to that, but that's certainly what we're going to be dealing with here as we head into this evening. Why are we getting a storm system? Well, we finally have some jet dynamics that are favorable for lift in the atmosphere. These are the 500 millibar winds at about 20 to 25,000 feet. And here's your jet streak over northern Minnesota. And it's usually at the right rear quad of a jet streak, so it'd be right in here is where you get significant lift. And when we drill down, now this is at about 10 to 15,000 feet in our atmosphere. Look at how the winds start to veer. They were, of course, out of the west at 20 to 25,000 feet, and then they veer to the southwest here in southern and southwestern Minnesota. And these winds at about 15,000 feet are pretty strong. So this is your mid-level moisture convergence that's happening with some advection in the atmosphere, and that is centered right over southern Minnesota and then eventually western Wisconsin here as we go into this afternoon, and then here we come. This is this evening and then overnight. So a real nice fetch of winds from the west and southwest are coming up into this frontal band or this frontal boundary, and that's what's creating the precipitation. Here's your future radar, and this is from the NAM 3K computer model guidance. You can see at about 3 or 4 this afternoon, so probably in about 2 to 3 hours from now, some precipitation is going to start encroaching on the Twin Cities metro, and then it's going to be a rain or rain-snow mix at first, and then it should quickly transition over to snow. We'll get some dynamic cooling that takes place, and it's going to start to snow at a pretty good clip in the Twin Cities metro, probably by about 9 p.m. or so. Still some rain down in southeastern Minnesota, and that would include Rochester at around 9 or 10 this evening. But from Eau Claire and western Wisconsin on west and southwest into southern Minnesota, this should be all snow, and heavy, wet, sloppy snow by 9 or 10 this evening. And then it quickly moves out, so that I think by about 2 or 3 in the morning, most of the area is going to start to quickly erode this snow, and by sunrise, and this is the radar at about sunrise, there should be nothing on Twin Cities radar except for maybe just a few flurries or even light sprinkles or light freezing drizzle. That's really about it as we head into sunrise. So that's the way that's shaping up. This is the guidance, the rapid refresh guidance now for snow. This is hot off the press. This, well, actually, let me go to the 18 Zulu run. Here it is, and watch what happens with the snow here as we go through time. You can see, and this has been fairly consistent. Now, this is going to vary a little bit on the northern and southern edges here, but in general, we're going to have about a 2 to 4 inch snowfall in some places, maybe even a little bit more. And with the axis of the snow stretching from near Glencoe to Bloomington to Chautauqua, Wisconsin. Okay, so that's the way it's looking right now. Yes, we may have to shove this north 10 to 20 miles or even south 10 to 20 miles. But in general, this is going to be the area where the heavier snows are going to fall. Not a blockbuster storm, but certainly more than enough to cause issues here as we go through time. And the timing graph, and I sent this to you already, and this really hasn't changed much. The only thing that has changed is that we may bump this up to about 4 inches or maybe even a little bit more of snow in some locations. But in general, the heaviest snows will fall from that 9 p.m. to midnight time range and then taper off pretty quickly tomorrow morning on this timing graph. And the snow potential map, I've sent this to you also. And this mimics the rapid refresh guidance pretty well, but I think the heaviest snows would be in eastern South Dakota where the snow is falling right now, and then it will extend east and touch northeast through the Twin Cities metro and into western Wisconsin. Now, I did want to look ahead here just real quickly in this video just to show you what's expected as we head into next week. This weekend, by the way, here comes the colder air. You can see it here spinning down from Canada right here. So we will have some Arctic air, modified Arctic air, but Arctic air this weekend. And then look at what happens. Look at what's building up in Western Canada here as we get into late this weekend and the next week. That's warm air. That's a ridge that develops and then moves over the north central portion of the United States. In fact, much of the United States gets into a ridging environment as we get into early next week. So it's going to be unseasonably warm again. So say goodbye to any snow that falls. It should be all gone by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week as warmer air moves in, and then we cool down again as we head towards next weekend. But yes, we just can't get out of this El Nino weather pattern that continues to bring warm bouts of air into our region and the upper Midwest. In fact, much of North America warm for this time of the year. Okay, here's your trigger graph. This is really the only opportunity for significant winter precipitation is in the next 24 hours here. We cool down significantly this weekend and then warm up significantly as we head in to next week. I will not be surprised, especially if the snow melts fast enough that some of us hit 50 degrees again by Monday or especially Tuesday of next week. We'll have to see. And yes, quiet after tomorrow morning. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me. Best of luck out there this evening. We'll have more updates for you as we go through the night tonight.